We have already talked about a few things regarding 10.2's gearing system. The upgrade system having upgradable crests. We talked about the catalyst being open from week 1, for example, as well as a few other changing in the gearing, something new, for example, like the Great Vault requiring less boss kills to be eligible for the gear slot in the Great Vault. However, there is also something extra we have gotten. One that could have been a disaster. It was a disaster for about 30 minutes until it was adjusted from Blizzard, which is the new crafting item level, the new crafting gear you can get in Season 3, as well as something that will slow us down in how fast we can climb the item level ladder in the new season. And that is, Blizzard is stretching the item level in Season 3. Now, this seems confusing. Let's go on and give you actual numbers for you to understand. When we ended up Vault of the Incarnates, the high-end item level of gear, so excluding the very handful of rare items at a higher item level, the high-end item level was 421. In Aberrus, the once again high end of the item level is 447. That's the stock standard item level for the Mythic Raid gear, as well as the Great Vault, as well as the crafted gear. It's a 26 item level gap. That was the difference between being at top item level in Vault Season 1 and then top item level right now in Aberrus. What changes in Season 3 is that the new higher item level will go from 447 to 486. Now, you might not be that good at math, but the gap is 39 item levels. So, we are going from the 26 item level gap of Season 1 to Season 2 to the 39 item level gap of Season 2 to Season 3. It's a 50% increase, a 50% higher item level. Now, what does this mean? Well, for example, it means we are starting the new season at a much lower item level compared to how we started Season 2. This is the situation with our gearing system right now in this season. You can see we started this season, if you had high item level, around 421, around the middle of the normal raid level. And if you compare it to the high item level, at the release of this patch, the high item level was 441, basically. That was when we still had no mythic upgrade track on our gear, where the gear from the first bosses in Mythic stopped at 441, where upgrading Mythic plus gear stopped at 441, etc, etc. It was roughly a 20 item level gap. Now, the new system in the new season looks tentatively like this. You can immediately see and notice that if you are right now around 447 item level, that is the equivalent of LFR. It's no longer the equivalent of late item levels from normal. Also, you can see that the gap from 447 all the way to the top of the gear, for example, the weekly vault, the weekly plus 20 vault reward is 483. The later mythic raid bosses go up to 486 and 489. You can see the gap is basically almost 40 item levels from where we will be at the start of the season. So it means, as said, it's gonna be a slower climb, because now you don't have to make up for 20-ish item levels like we had to do in Season 2, you have to make up for 40 item levels at the start of Season 3. And this is paired together with what we mentioned in one of our latest videos about how the acquisition of crests was slowed down. Now you can expect to have one upgraded piece of gear every week instead of 5 upgraded pieces of gear every week. So this is all in play to slow down our gearing process, to keep some of the lower item level pieces and some of the lower item level rewards and crafting items as well as crests more relevant. Also, we have gotten the change from the crafting system. Initially, it looked like it could have been a disaster, but then Blizzard quickly adjusted the number, and the result is that in Season 3, the Worm crest with crafting will be at 473 item level, while the high level, the Aspect crafted gear, will be at 483. This is still a nerf compared to what we are having this season. It's a one level, it's a 3, 4 item levels nerf compared to the crafted gear we have right now, which is at 447. Same goes for the Great Vault. As you can see from the graph, the weekly Vault plus 20 is at the same level of the crafted gear, which in this season would be at 447. In this season, both the pieces from the Great Vault as well as the crafted gear can go up to 447, unless you find something special from the raid. In Season 3, this equivalent would have been 486, instead is down to 483. So the max item level reward from the Great Vault has been made weaker, the max crafting item level has been made weaker as well. We are getting fewer crests per week, meaning we can upgrade fewer items per week, and we are starting with the average item level of an LFR geared character at the start of Season 3, instead of starting with the average item level of a mid to late normal raid geared character. So overall, across the board, everything is weaker and everything is slower to obtain compared to this season. Even more so, because don't get confused, a few of the additions we have right now were only well after the release of the season. For example, the introduction of the Mythic track to upgrade raid items, as well as to be able to upgrade items from Mythic Plus from the Great Vault, from 441 all the way up to 447. This was also a late addition. We didn't even have that at the release of Season 2. So this is all to point out that, for now at the very least, Blizzard has quite clear in mind the plan they want to have for gearing in Season 3, and the plan at the moment is not nearly as fast and not nearly as easy as we have gotten it in Season 2. We have talked about a few pluses, a few bonuses in Season 3 compared to Season 2. We have talked about the upgradable quests. If they work as intended, you will be able to, for example, join open world content to stock up on previously useless crests like Whelpling and Drakes, which right now, if you look in your bags, you might have 70, 80, 90, even 100 of these crests that you just don't use them because you don't have anything worthwhile to use them on. In Season 3, they might become significantly more useful, because once you reach a certain threshold of item level in all pieces of your gear, you will be able to upgrade the crests relative to that item level to the next tier. So reaching 451 item level in all your gear will allow you to turn Whelpling crests into Drake crests. Reaching 463 item level will turn Drakes into Worms, and then reaching 476 item level will turn Worms into Aspect crests. So that could be a very useful way to catch up on much of the gear. Since we talked about the gearing being slower, it will be slower, but with the upgrading of the crests, you will be able to upgrade big chunks of your gear all at once you get all of your lower crests able to be upgraded. So still, at the very first glance, everything around the gearing process, though, has been slowed down. From where we start in our item level, which is about 13 item levels lower than where we started this season, from how fast we can get gear upgrades, that has also been slowed. The max item level we can get from the Great Vault has been reduced. The max item level from our crafted items have also been reduced. So we will see with this intended plan from Blizzard if this ends up being too slow or just slow enough, okay, just good enough to give you a nice progression path of your gearing, so that you don't get maxed out in item level in the first 3 weeks, but also doesn't take you 3 months to get the gear you want, something in between. But for now, this is what we have, at the very least in theory, at the very least in the PTR, for Blizzard as far as gearing, gear upgrades and crafting goes in Season 3. So With this informational bit of a video concerning Season 3 gear, we can now leave each other at the beginning of this week, on this Monday. We are starting the goodbyes, of course, as usual, by thanking all of the Patreon supporters for the contribution and help to the growth of the channel, as well as, of course, other ways to support completely for free. You can like and comment down below, as well as subscribe to the channel itself. Now, with these annoying things out of the way, thank you guys again for watching. See you guys tomorrow, and in the meantime, well, we are almost done. We are about 3 days away from the end of this supposed heat wave, before we can start slowly entering autumn, finally.